Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Samantha. I'm autistic. I have ADHD, I have total aphantasia, and a memory disorder. So make sure you check out my playlist to go into depth on any of these topics. So today I just wanted to film hopefully a short video, but who knows if I get to rambling. But just to give you an update, because the video I posted 2 days ago, I think it felt very intense for me. It was very interesting when I was editing it back, and when I was watching it back, when I was editing, I looked more calm than I felt on the inside. So the video posted 2 days ago about, it was where I was feeling like I was on the verge of a meltdown. Like I hadn't gone full on into a meltdown, but I was feeling this anxiety and this panic, and it was kind of just all coming up inside of me. I was having a hard time completing sentences. I had to pause that video quite a bit just because I kept just completely losing track of my words mid-sentence, which happens the more dysregulated I am. And one of the things that I was really anxious about was the fact that I actually didn't even understand where the anxiety was coming from. It was kind of a circular effect. It was making me more anxious to not understand my anxiety. I don't know if that's common for other people, but sometimes when I'm anxious, but I have an understanding, like, oh, it's a new doctor that I have to go to. I understand that I'm anxious because it's a new situation. This was just like a kind of anxiety that started brewing, and it felt like I'm like kind of like motioning my hands in from my stomach, because it's like it felt like it was coming out of my stomach, and it was just like building up inside me. But I think what it ended up stemming from was just a delayed reaction from having construction in my house. So we're having some of the carpets replaced, and we had construction people here for 4 days in a row. And even though I tried to be out of the house as much as possible due to the noise, it just disrupted my rhythm, my routine, and it also just the very loud hammering for the parts of the day that I was home, even with protective, earplugs. It was like I got through it, and I was like, okay, I'm handling this relatively well. And then, like, they were here on a Saturday, and that Sunday, the Monday, I was mostly okay. And then by Tuesday, it was like my body took that time to release all of the tension and stress. And I think that's really important because parents of autistic children, they're not always going to be able to explain or understand what the anxiety is coming from. And you might be trying to look back to something that happened that morning or maybe the previous day, but this one really took me 2.5 days before the anxiety hit from the event that caused the dysregulation and meltdown. So I don't know that if you will ever always be able to identify where a meltdown may stem from, but I'm pretty sure that's what caused it after like kind of reflecting back. And yeah, like I think a lot of children, if you were to ask them like, what's causing you anxiety, what's causing you stress, they're not going to be able to tell you a lot of times because they just aren't going to know themselves. Like it took a lot of reflection and thinking about it for me to actually kind of identify where the stress was coming from. So one thing I wanted to share with you was what I did to kind of try to prevent the meltdown in a way. Like I felt like it was coming up, and I was like on the verge of a full either shutdown or meltdown. And in the end of that video, I told you that I was going to just go and do something really stimmy. And, but because I'm recovering from foot surgery, what my brain wanted to do was just go running, which is really crazy because I'm not a runner, but that's just how much energy I felt like was stored up in my body that I wanted to just burst out, just go. But because of foot surgery, that wasn't even like an option. So what I ended up doing instead was one of the things that's been on my list of things that I want to do lately is clean out my laundry room. And so I kind of focused some energy that afternoon in organizing my laundry room, which was enough physical activity for me in that moment. Because of recovering from surgery, it was a lot more physical than it would have been if I been to my full healthy self. And just having this like task to just throw myself into and organize the laundry room helped me kind of like regulate my body that day. And then that evening, I had a hyperfixation activate. And I like to say that because it is so funny how these hyperfixations will come on. I'm autistic ADHD, and I think it's pretty common for autistic ADHD people to have lots of different hyperfixations. Most of mine revolve around art or crafting or creativity, but I will jump from one to the other. I think it's more common if you are autistic without ADHD that you might have less, and they are more called just your special interest, and they can be more lifelong, and you may have 1, 2, or 3 throughout your life. But ADHD people, or just, I'm sorry, there's another freaking hair, or just ADHD people go from hobby to hobby. It's what, they're often called. Over the years, I've had so many hobbies, but they all are in the like artistic realm. But what mine activated was watercolor painting. And I'll show you these in detail in just a minute. But I don't even know. It was just like this thought that popped in my head was like, I feel like watercoloring. And I had to get to the executive functioning to actually make it start, because I haven't watercolored in a long time. So I was like searching through my room, trying to find my watercolor paper. Where did I put my watercolors, and gather up all my supplies. But once I did that, I sat down and watercolored like for a couple hours straight. Then I had to go to bed, woke up the next morning, and I spent almost all day yesterday watercoloring with like breaks to do like adulting things. Like I had to switch some laundry, and I had to like cook some dinner. And then the rest of the day, Saturday, like I literally watercolored. And then this morning I got up and I'm finishing up the last one for this collection of frames right here. And then I'll probably take a break. I think like I feel like it was just a super intense hyperfixation. And it's like, okay, I'm not being drawn to it as much today. Like I'm able to film a video today. Yesterday, all my brain wanted to do was watercolor. My husband was like, hey, you want to watch a movie with me? And like, I don't think I would have even been capable of focusing on the movie, because that like hyper focus, hyperfixation was like so intense yesterday that if I couldn't watercolor, that in itself almost would have caused a meltdown of dysregulation. Like that's how intense it was. But doing all of this for the past, 48 hours or something, it's like it gave me a reset, and I'm feeling so much calmer and better today. So with that, I'm going to show you my paintings up close because I'm really proud of them. Yeah, I just had a tangent. I was like, oh, should I add on? In America here, it is beginning of July, which is 2 things. One, it's Disability Pride Month, so yay. That's exciting because we need to talk about the word disability more and not be afraid to use it. And disability is a neutral term. It's not good or bad to be disabled. It's just neutral. It's just a form of human existence. And also in America, July 4th is Independence Day, which is a really terrible day for a lot of autistic people in America because of the fireworks and the crowds. We will definitely be staying in and try not to, because my family just does not like crowds, and we do not like the loud noises. And I live in an unincorporated area, so fireworks are not illegal in my area, and it sounds like a war zone. So it's a very hard night to get through. But with no further ado, I'm going to turn my camera around and show you some of my art that I've been working on. So a couple things. I am an amateur. This is just a hobby of mine. I've not gone to like art school or anything like that. So I've had these pictures up for, I don't know, I think I put them up last fall, and I just filled them up with scrapbook paper. And I kind of changed them from season to season for a while, but eventually I knew I wanted to fill them up with art, and it's just taken me a long time. So I do have one to go in that last spot, but I'll show it to you because I'm still working on that one. So this is the first one I did last night. Or no, this was 2 nights ago now. And it's just a bunch of butterflies flying out of a book. Then I painted this hummingbird. Or, well, okay, I don't know what order I did these. I think actually this one was my second one. The umbrella, and I think the hummingbird was third. And then I think I did the froggy next. And I do have aphantasia, so that means that I cannot visualize when I'm creating art. So I did use reference photos for all of these. And then I'll tell you about that middle one here in a second, but this is the sunflower that I'm currently working on. Hold on, the light is not very good right here. So I'm still working on that one. And so for this middle one, I was asking my daughter, so the sunflower is going to go in this blue one, but I was asking my daughter, I'm like, what should I do for the middle one? And I was at first going to do a dragon, but she said, why don't you incorporate all of the other paintings into the middle one? I was like, oh, that sounds like a really fun idea. So I took all the ideas from my other paintings and came up with this layout for the middle one, which I think is just fun and vibrant. And I love the little inchworm down at the bottom and the little froggy coming out of the teacup holding the umbrella, and the hummingbird drinking out of the sunflower, which I don't know if hummingbirds drink out of sunflowers, but that isn't the point. But yes, to talk onto the aphantasia for a minute, since I have, since it kind of relates, like for that froggy one up there, I basically took 3 different Google images and had them out and incorporated them into my own drawing. So I have to use reference photos or drawings to create my own art because I cannot visualize in my own mind. I would have no idea what a frog looks like. I have to use reference photos. So the 3 reference photos I picked was a frog on a branch, but he didn't have that leg hanging down. And so I added the leg from a different frog photo. Thought it was cute. And then I added those leaves from a 3rd photo. Yeah, so, and I kind of did that with all of them. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and until the next video. I do have some really good videos planned coming up, but, well, you'll just have to wait to see them. All right, bye.